Good morning. Welcome to the All49ers show. That's Jose Sanchez. I'm Grant Cohn. Title of the show is Jimmy Garoppolo back in the picture? He might be. He really might be, which isn't. I mean, some people might like that, but
I'm back, baby.
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. The show goes on.
Hey, wait. So this is our first time back since last time in the Super Bowl, right? We're making Super Bowl predictions, and I believe someone here got something right while the other person got something wrong. What was that again, Grant? Could you remind me? I forgot.
You're right. I was wrong. You called it correctly. I was incorrect. Good job.
Also,
what was I thinking? Why would I bet against Patrick Mahomes? That was a mistake.
Yeah, that's honestly pretty much just like, I'm just going to go against the best quarterback and best head coach. Because at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, I'm like, hey, I did against, easily top 5 in both categories. But yeah, I noticed my liquor cabinet is a little empty. There's no bottle of tequila. So
you backed out of the drink. You backed out of the bet. You said that. You said that Drake. You said I'm out. You backed out of the bet. All right, I'll get you a bottle. I was
about to say. So at the end of the show, if I don't have a bottle of tequila already ordered, then there's gonna be some people waiting on your doorstep with a baseball bat.
Fair enough.
They're gonna play. They're gonna play batting practice with your kneecaps.
Oh damn! All right, fair enough. So there's news. Trey Lance is gonna start throwing this weekend, according to his Instagram. He is asking for any high school or college wide receivers to come.
Did you tell him you were available?
Shouldn't we show up? I think you and I should show up.
I kind of was tempted to hit his DMs like, hey, man, I still play on the weekends. I can move. I mean, I like to think
we know it's going to be at San Jose State, right? It's definitely going to be at San Jose State.
He's gonna cancel. You see how it's raining?
No, that's true. That's true. He's going to
anyways, yeah.
But the news here is that he seems to be healthy enough to start throwing again and maybe start running soon. And he said he was going to be fully cleared right around now. So this is good news. I mean, we're still waiting on Brock, an update, a surgery, a procedure, something. But with Trey, it seems like he's actually making progress, which is good.
Yeah, it's great. Great. I'm glad to hear. I think I'm not really sure where I actually anticipate. I think this sounds about right where he should be at, starting to get that nice little warm up, going out there, getting a little bit of just getting his feet wet, literally. Not to say because it's raining and it's wet outside, but literally just to get his feet wet, just to see where he's really at. I'm sure he's already tested it a little bit. At some points, because I already know when you're recovering from injury, you have to be thinking all right, what's my capability? What's my ceiling right now? What can I do? What can I not? What am I comfortable with? So at least now it's probably just getting his arm really back in the thick of things along together. So it's going to be an interesting project for him. And this is now the first step that he's going to knock over in the domino effect to see, all right, how are you going to be able to feel when you get this all together? Is your foot really going to be in your back of your mind and back in your head? Is it going to bother you? Especially if he's going to be a mobile type. But right now, I think it's pretty much just getting the cobwebs off, getting the rust off. I wonder if he's going to even have any technique he can work on because, I'm pretty sure the next month or two is probably just could be about what can I do? Can I get back to normal first?
Isn't it interesting that he's soliciting non-49ers to help him out? Don't you think? I mean, usually quarterbacks have teammates lining up to work out with. Maybe these guys are all on vacation. They don't want to run
Cabo.
Right now. They're all in Cabo. Maybe they just want to save their legs. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like if Jalen Hurts was like, hey, man, I want to throw, I feel like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert would be there. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I feel like if it was closer, maybe to April, because I think that's when they start returning. They don't really care about their players. It's hey, March, February, don't talk to us.
Yeah.
Unless we'll talk to you unless it's about certain free agents or something like that. But yeah, I just is everyone really gone? Juwan Jennings, Juwan Jennings.
What's Juwan doing? Juwan, you should hit him up. Come on, you should meet up with Trey. In the past, remember in the offseason, we always get these pictures of Trey and Brandon Ayuk working out together. Brandon, where you at? He needs your help. That's a quarterback.
In February too, that those two are already starting together. But you got to think about if you're Ayuk, he's got to get his option picked up, and then there's everything now is kind of contract point to him. So I think the premature steps, what we saw with Debo a year or so ago, is gonna start with him. I think a little bit now, so he's got to be a little bit more preserved, be a little more preservative with his body and stuff like that. But especially, it's only February. If this was getting close to OTAs or something like that, I'd be all right, what the hell, man? Can we get someone? But right now, it's pretty much just about him just getting it. How much is he really going to be able to work on? Is he going to be out there for an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours? that's going to matter. So I think everything right now is just about a bunch of conditioning. Just like I said, just knocking some of the rust dust off and just seeing where he's at.
Let's just stake out San Jose State, wherever the field is. And then when he shows up, let's be like, Trey, come on, let me play, and then we'll film it.
I still got my old ID. I just pretend I'm a student.
There you go.
I'm over here. I'm here to interview the players.
Yeah, no, I'm a wide receiver. Trey Lance invited me to come here. I'm here. I brought my spikes. I got my gloves.
I got my tights on and everything.
My name is River Craycraft. Have you heard of me? I'm Trent Taylor. All right, let's stick with Trey Lance. So he is their starter until Brock Purdy has a surgery and then recovers from the surgery, which, I mean, he hasn't started step one yet. So how can the Niners help Trey? I mean, obviously, Trey's going to have to do things to help himself, and we'll talk about that after. But what can the Niners do to help Trey while he's their starter?
Not talk to Mike Silver about how they want someone better. Stop doing that. Don't do that. That's the number one off the top of my head. Before they can do anything, or just giving advice or anything, how about control what you can control and shut the hell up? Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't be that conniving bad teammate, because that was putrid last year. Oh, we want Jimmy to start. Like, really? Really? Even if you think that, don't go running to Mike Silver and telling him, like, hey, Mike, by the way, we kind of think we can win with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
like,
you can't use my name, but write this. Yeah, exactly.
Please do not do that, because I mean, not to say like, you know, Lance is like necessarily like going to be affected by that per se, but still, it's like, dude, don't put that bad juju out there. Don't put the bad vibes. Be a good teammate. Be a good person for the 49ers, and recognize Brock's injured. You know, we traded for Trey.
Jimmy's gone, unless they bring him back.
You know, Purdy's down again. We need him to do good. We need him to do good for us. So it's really, for these guys, you need to give your utmost support to all of them, no matter who has the higher leg in terms of the other, of giving him a better impact on offense. Just don't do that. Just be the uplifting guy. Don't say anything. Even if you think it, don't say anything. Don't talk about it amongst yourselves like a clique in middle school. Stop it.
Yeah, because it feels like they're very cliquey, like a fraternity. They're like a frat. And they're not just friends. They're not just teammates. They're not just friends. They're brothers.
They're brothers.
They're brothers. And they're happy and they're sick. Yeah.
Because we already know who the clique is.
Yeah, they're brothers, and Jimmy is their brother. And so they resented Trey because he's there to take their brother's job. Man, Trey didn't pick himself on this team. Trey didn't choose to come here. And Jimmy most likely, although we don't know for sure, is going to leave. So why are you resenting Trey? Brock's hurt. Jimmy's probably gone. Trey is your season. He's here to save your ass. So why don't you just embrace him and stop saying things like, yeah, you know, we'll see how he does. Or, you know, all he has to do is not make the big mistake. Why don't you say stuff like, Trey's really good and we believe in him and he's going to show it? Because that's what the Eagles said about Jalen Hurts from pretty much the beginning, even when he wasn't that good. And so he was able to improve and grow with the backing of his teammates. Trey's never had that.
It kind of helps that they didn't like Carson Wentz either, because he was kind of like he was the
anti-Jimmy. He was the anti-Jimmy.
I mean, come on. Yeah, so it's a little bit different, but still, yeah, they were giving his support in a way, because they knew, like, all right, we're starting Jalen Hurts. This guy might be the future.
Yeah.
So I mean,
also,
they kind of made clear.
Give the Eagles credit. As soon as they decided that Jalen Hurts was the starter and that Carson Wentz wasn't anymore, they got Carson Wentz the hell off that team. And it didn't give a mixed message to the locker room like, hey, one of these guys will be your quarterback. Rally around both of them. No. Carson's gone. Jalen's the starter. Embrace him. And they did. The Niners gave the locker room a choice, a mixed message. And what do you expect to happen?
I mean,
we talked about this last year.
But Kyle Shanahan knew that was going to happen too. That's why he said he pulled in the 10 to 15 starters, leaders on the team and says, hey, I need you guys to make this work. And weed them out.
How'd that go?
Because he knows. But it's like, damn, dude, the 15 people you brought in, probably 5 to 8 of them were probably the ones that were talking to Silver or whoever the hell.
Exactly. So why did you have to do that? Because you already know he's working uphill. And then when he did get hurt, they said felt like a return to 49ers football, which was quite a slap in the face. So yeah, how about don't do that stuff? And then also, like, man, George Kittle, you've been very vocal about who you want to be the starting quarterback and what Brock has done and Jimmy and all this stuff. Man, you've been healthy for one of Trey Lance's starts, and he won that game. Why don't you be available week 1 and week 2 this season so that Trey Lance can play with you and hit the ground running? Because last year, he got injured before you were on the field. Also, Christian McCaffrey, I'm not saying anything about him, but the addition of him will help Trey Lance. Can you imagine what Trey and Christian McCaffrey, that run game could look like? That zone read run game.
It's going to make Deebo Samuel relevant again too. Because I wish I kept the stat. I'm gonna have to do some digging because I'm gonna write an article on
his
it
yards per carry with Trey.
Yeah, remember that yards per carry thing, and it was like
crazy.
It wasn't even just that; it was something else. But yeah, about how just the 1.5 games when Deebo was with Trey Lance, and then the next 4 games after that, it was like, God, look at the spike. And I don't even need the 4 games after Trey Lance was gone with Jimmy Garoppolo in. I can use the rest of the season. He was marginalized. He was useless as a runner.
Yeah.
It was pretty much. The threat of Deebo Samuel was more of a threat than him actually, getting the ball.
Exactly.
It was just the whole idea of him that was such a threat because every time he got the
ball,
he
was a decoy. He was decoy Samuel.
Exactly. Yeah, decoy.
He was decoy Samuel.
Yes.
He was.
Deebo was. That's all I love. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, man. So that's all. Hey, he wasn't. It's there wasn't a chance, but it's it wasn't 50% chance he was going to get a chunk or a score play off this anymore. Now it's all right, it's probably going to go for 5 yards, 8 yards, and there's going to be a bunch of defenders on him, and he's going to have to work some magic to somehow escape 4 defenders and turn the negative yards into 3 yards.
That's true. One more way the Niners can help Trey Lance when he's their starter. Help him up when he gets sacked. Mike, well, you probably won't be on the team anymore, but Trent, Aaron, Spencer, help him up. Although that was a Mike and Trent production. Couldn't believe that. Anything else? Oh, how about use him as a quarterback, Kyle?
That's one thing I'm going to wonder. It's Kyle, are you going to be able to confidently run him like that ever again, especially up the middle? And I still
don't understand why they ran him so much. If he was Justin Fields or Anthony Richardson averaging 7 yards a carry or Lamar Jackson, I was like, man, we got to run him. It's our best play.
He was actually a good runner.
He wasn't running well. He was averaging 4 yards a carry. There were 7 options who were averaging more than him. He should have been the decoy as a runner. There's no reason. See, it almost felt like Kyle was trying to say, I have to use him this way. I have to run. No, you don't. You won an NFC Championship game handing off. Why don't you work around Trey and not feature his leg, especially after this surgery? So I'd like to see them use him as a quarterback before they write him off as a quarterback. You drafted him to be a quarterback. See what he can do.
Yeah, that was
the one time they used him as a quarterback was against Houston. He looked good, played well.
Yeah, I mean, I just forever will just look at that and just be like, well, I hope, Kyle, you realize, are you going to have the gall to actually call those plays again? And then for Trey Lance, what's going to happen if not even on those run plays you get called on, but what if it's a scramble, rolling left, rolling right, away from pressure?
What I don't understand about Kyle,
is he going to hit the ground sooner now? He probably should.
What I don't understand about Kyle is he puts his pocket passers under center so he can have the threat of play action. But Brock and Jimmy don't take shots down the field. Really, maybe take a 30-yard shot. But Trey Lance is supposed to be the under-centered play action guy who can air it out 50, 60 yards. But when he's in the game, he's in the shotgun, running the zone read. It's where I thought he was supposed to be the play action guy. That's why you drafted him instead of Justin Fields. If you want to run the zone read, Justin Fields is so much better at that. He did it in college. He's more athletic. I'm so confused by that. Put Trey under center and let him air that thing out. That thing.
I don't think that's what they call what they would really say, but
that's true. I stopped myself. Nathan Flores says, no to Jimmy coming back. I'm done with a 31-year-old rookie. I can't do it. Injury time, mediocre quarterback. He can't win the big games. Yeah, we've been trying to say that, but every year. Hold on. David Velez says, if Kyle was a real leader, he'd call a meeting with the Cabo clique and say, Trey is the guy, period. If you got a problem, I will trade you to NFL Siberia with a 17th round pick in 2045. But does Kyle even think that Trey's the guy, or does he think that Brock's coming back? I don't know. If I'm Trey, I'd audible every quarterback power just to spite Kyle. That's a good way to get Kyle to hate you. All right, more Trey. What can Trey Lance do himself this offseason to be the indefinite starter, to take this job?
Nothing. There's
nothing.
There's
nothing he can do.
There's nothing he can do. The only thing he can do is live up to a standard and just play well. That's number one, and he's going to have to. And then once he does that, okay, cool. You're the starter, obviously, by default, but you also got to have to play well and not look bad, because otherwise they're going to have it in for you as soon as Brock is ready to go by week 1, 2, or 3, whatever.
Right.
And then once it's pretty much everything for him is just what can you do in a real game, not a preseason, not a joint practice, not a random exhibition game, whatever the hell is going to be there. You have to show what you can do in a real game. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, if that's how many games you're going to get. And you're going to have to play well. You can't play bad, number one, and you can't play bad and lose, number two. That's worse. That's not going to work out. Then we're going to have a Jimmy Garoppolo 2021 situation where you're going to get replaced, but except you're going to get replaced earlier, especially if like there's already been a couple weeks or so that Purdy's there. And then sure enough, you already know the Cabo clique or whatever the hell you want to call them is suddenly going to be like, I think we can win Purdy. It's going to be the Jimmy cycle all over again with all these little immature, little gossip, Beverly Hills news, whatever the hell, thing, everything. So it's really, there's nothing in the offseason. I get it. It's like, get back to health. Show you can play well, be fine, don't make too many mistakes, because ultimately you're just going to get judged on what you can do on the actual Sundays, on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays. And from there on out, it's going to be on you, Trey, to hold on, because you are on a very, very thin ice and what you can afford. I could see it as bad as being just one bad game. It's depending on how bad the degree. Say he goes like 13 of 29, 170 yards, 2 picks. I think that's going to be enough for him to get pulled like in a week 3, week 4 game where they go to Purdy. So to him, everything's just going to be done on a real game.
It just feels to me like this team wants Purdy to be their quarterback. And so with Trey, all of his and it's always been this way with Trey since he's gotten here. All of his imperfections are magnified. So he'll complete a pass and people be like, "Oh, but it wobbled. Look, it wasn't a perfect spiral." Like he's been dealing with that for 2 years. Whereas with Brock, like Brock's a great story. All of his good things are magnified. So I feel like with Trey, I don't know if he can ever win here. I don't know if he can ever play well enough. I don't know if he can ever win convincingly enough. There's also the fact that the Niners offense struggles every year to start the season, and he's going to be starting the season. So they could blame him again for their collective problems.
It's going to be another influx of new coaches on the offense and everything.
Good point.
How's the defense going to click with Steve Wilkes off the bat? Is the defense going to be a slow starter now?
The pass game coordinator's gone, right? And they got a new guy in. So you're right. Maybe the pass game isn't going to be so great early on like last year. That's a good point.
You have 2, maybe 3 new starters on the offensive line.
Yep.
Yeah, it's asking for another typical slow Kyle Shanahan 49ers start again.
Especially on offense.
But I think to at least give the credit of why like Trey Lance versus Purdy, like why Purdy isn't anywhere near mid-pick as Lance is, one was the last pick in the draft. The other one was the second, third pick in the draft. So that has become a bit more of a magnifying glass on that player. And, everything. So it's like, oh, they got him the 7th. So it's easy. The same way like Jimmy Garoppolo got nitpicked is because he was getting paid $28 million a year. If he was getting paid like he should have this year, the 7 to 10, then I think at least me and some others would have pulled back the criticisms because he's not being demanded to play as well because he's not siphoning as much of the salary cap. Like you said, he's not taking up 12, 13% of that cap because if he is, okay, we need you to play well, efficient, and pretty great football at times. But no, you can't do that. Since you have less of that money, so less of that expectation, less of that draft capital weight, because remember, he wasn't just a second, third pick, Trey Lance. They spent 3 on him this year and next year's. So I mean, 2021 and I think this is last year, right? Because that 2024 they're back to the first year. Yeah, so they spent 30 on him. So that's why it kind of gets a little more high sense. And then it's the fact that he's coming, to take the spot of a guy who gave the 49ers actual hope when really it was just not hope. He's the one that just kept them afloat because he just needed them to get in Garoppolo. So I think that's pretty much where it is at. It's because one guy was the last pick, the other guy was pretty much almost the first pick.
Yeah, but that's not valid because look, the thing with Jimmy is that he was getting critiqued because of his salary, but he was also getting critiqued because he's 31. He started 57 games and he never improved. And I think some people were like, "Man, this guy's gotten a million second chances. Enough with this guy. He's not good enough." With Trey, he was a 3rd pick in the draft, and the Niners gave up a haul to get him. He started 4 games. Brock has started 8. So. Yeah, one was the last pick. One was a huge investment, but they're both essentially rookies. And I don't think it's fair to be hypercritical on one because of where he was drafted, and the other guy be like, "Oh, what a great story he is! Oh, look at it." It's like they should probably. No, I'm not saying you, but they should probably be judged on the same scale now that they're both NFL players in the same team. But they won't be. They won't be. To your point, they absolutely won't be.
But I will push back on that. Getting drafted, what round you are does matter. It does matter significantly a lot. I mean, I'm not going to say that Trey deserves criticism because he hasn't had a chance to do anything. That's where I get the pushback. It's like, look, I get if the versus like, okay, this guy was the last pick versus this guy, but it's like, what can we really criticize too much on Trey? He hasn't really gotten a chance. Like, I don't get so much of I can't really be too positive or too negative on him because it's like, can we just wait to get more games on this guy? At least Purdy, he had like 9 games on his belt, and that's like, okay, there's something to work with. But even still,
but all I'm saying is based on like this whole perception of where they were drafted, they could do the same thing. And for Trey, it wouldn't be good enough, but for Brock, it would be inspirational because he was the last pick in the draft, but it was the same exact play. That's what I'm saying here.
But then there's also like, and I've seen this about talking about like if everyone does the whole what would you do in a redraft, and it's like, well, yeah, hindsight, but anyways, and what would you do redraft? You can see Brock Purdy be almost like a 3rd round pick now, whereas like if Trey were to do what Brock did, it's like, well, he's supposed to do that. He's already top pick. He needs to be this good, if not better. So it's like, you do that thing. It's like what I wrote in my bargain contracts. It's like the 49ers are getting more bang for their buck in terms of not only just how much they're paying for him, which is not getting paid $1 million, but what it came to cost them. It was just pretty much like a flyer. They probably just look at the board and say, quarterback, screw it, let's go there. The Niners probably didn't even. I mean, they did, but it's like they could have just been like, just pick anyone. It doesn't matter. It's the last pick in the draft. It doesn't matter. So let's just figure it out.
Yeah. But again, what I'm saying is when you're the last pick in the draft and you do like you've already exceeded expectations, people aren't going to nitpick your game. I mean, your arm isn't that strong. You're not that big. Who cares? You're already better than any last pick ever. But Trey, dude, you got to be you got to be Patrick Mahomes. And so he could be better than Brock Purdy, but people might prefer Brock Purdy because Trey Lance is not living up to some theoretical expectation, whereas Brock Purdy's already exceeded his. He's a better story. That's all I'm saying.
I think next year when Purdy if he gets to start again and starts on, where I think that he's gonna get more critiqued on now. Versus last year, it was just kind of like, all right, dude, you kind of allotted yourself plenty of excuses. You got thrown into the fire in the late playoff run.
Hard to knock anything you're doing, man. You haven't lost a game.
Especially it was hard when he was elevating the offense over Garoppolo.
He was.
So now I think next year is going to be more of a magnifying glass on him. Just like
you mentioned, what they like a redraft, like what they'd be worth. Oh, it's interesting. What would Trey be worth in a trade right now? What would Brock be worth in a trade right now?
I think Brock's worth more.
I don't know about that. I think he was worth more until he got his UCL snap.
Actually, yeah. I don't know injury. Yeah.
I don't know. It's different. I think before his UCL got snapped, his trade value was getting pushed into the 1st round cat. I mean, wow, he was killing it. But now you're like, oh, what's he gonna be when he comes back? He still has an arm issue. I don't know. And Trey, I mean, same thing, right? People liked him as a dual threat, but now he's coming off his 2nd ankle surgery. Like, what's his trade value right now? I think
they're both day 3 picks at this point because of their injuries.
Maybe. Shreddy Murphy says, can Trey request a trade or wait for Niners to not extend? I don't think he can request a trade. I think he has to be. Yeah, I think the league would laugh at him. He has to be like.
The Niners would laugh at him.
Yeah, he has no.
The Niners would be stupid. They need quarterbacks. All right.
Yeah, they really do. They need him as a backup.
You need adequate ones, man. Because the way you guys get them hurt, whether it's intentional or not, bad luck or not, it doesn't matter. We know what your history is.
Tim Meyer says, do you think Kyle invited himself to Cabo? Who is going to tell their boss he's not invited? I think that's Cabo. I think Cabo is like his little tradition after
that's his thing.
Seasons.
And I think he invites them.
Yeah, and I think the players understand, like, hey, if you want to get on Kyle's good side, you might want to.
Did you get an invite? Did you get an invite?
Not this year, but I'm hoping next year.
Oh, is that why you went to Miami? Or maybe he played a trick on you. He told you, hey, Grant, meet us in Miami, and you went there and you realized, I got played on, so I have to lie to everyone I'm on vacation.
I like Miami a lot, but I will say they don't have Mexican food in Miami.
Geez, I wonder why. Maybe it's because they got Puerto Ricans, Cubans, all those other Caribbean Latins over there.
That's what I'm saying. And, God love them, but they don't make tacos. You know what I'm saying? I like a taco. So as soon as I came back to California, I'm like, thank God, I'm back.
No, they make some good, like some lechon over there. I remember for Super Bowl week, I had like a fat lechon plate with like the plantains and everything, and like the black. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. It was like it was almost like in a night market where it was like a hall. I
like a plantain. I like a plantain. You could do a lot with a plantain. All right, let's talk about Brock Purdy. Based on the way Kyle Shanahan and George Kittle and the leaders of this team have talked about Brock Purdy this offseason, do you think they are sold on him as their franchise quarterback, at least for the next few years?
Yes, I think they
so
want
too.
him to start.
I think so too.
Look, and we saw it in the press conference how like Kyle was like, no, we checked. It's fine. It's good with him. It's good to rock and roll. I mean, this question becomes more intrigued now that he has the UCL injury. His elbow is like, especially his throwing arm, is kind of like shot right now with his surgery. So because without it, you know, it's a foregone conclusion he's starting, right? It's going to pretty much the only way Trey can steal it from him is if Purdy plays bad or just like now he gets injured. This literally was the best case scenario. Not to say like he wishes for injury, but it's like this was the only way for him to get a shot, for him to show anything. And for his development and growth, he needed this. But, even with this, I think it's still going to be, hey, we're thinking of Brock in your mind. And this is why I say, look, Trey, the ball's in your hand, the ball's in your court. However much long Purdy's gone for, whether it's, he starts beginning of training camp, he misses some, misses all. It feels like you're probably going to be the week 1 starter. And from there on out, you are going to have to do your utmost to hold on to that. You're going to have to build yourself a case, and you have to make it almost a clear-cut decision that you're the one after 4 or 5 games, because if there's still doubt after those 3 to 4 games and you're winning, then you're going to get pulled at any time because Purdy's right then and there. And that's not even a guarantee. Trey can play okay and they're winning, but they can still see more and they can still insert Purdy because they can always say, oh, he's always been our guy. They have a bunch of leeways for this guy. So Trey is like very, very short leash. Again, it's a bad card being dealt. He should get seen more. But again, they know what they have in Purdy. They think, assuming he's fine with his elbow and everything. But this is the way it's going to play out. This is their guy now. Purdy is their guy.
Well, we don't know physically. We don't know if he's even good enough or whatever, but I think they want him to be there. I
think in their mind, they're just like,
in their minds, it is. I totally agree.
I think to sway them.
I think really from Kyle's perspective, I don't know why he drafted Trey Lance, and I don't ever think he's really been excited about coaching mobile quarterbacks. I mean, he got Trey and RG3 hurt immediately. But what I do think he wants is a quarterback like Brock. I think Kyle Shanahan's ideal quarterback isn't Kirk, it's Drew Brees. He's talked about Drew Brees so much, and what Drew Brees was the most accurate and the fastest processor. He got the ball. He knew where to go with it immediately. The ball came out really quick. He was accurate. Did he have a strong arm? No, not particularly. Was he super mobile? No. He was decent. But those two things were off the charts. And I think Kyle feels if he could just have that type of quarterback, his offense would put up, it would be unstoppable. And I think he sees Brock in that mold. I mean, they kind of look like each other. Have you seen them standing side by side? It's like he's Drew Brees' son. It's amazing.
I think that picture was at the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
It was super funny. So to me, I think Kyle feels like he finally has the style of quarterback he wants. That even though Brock may not be great, that Kyle doesn't need great, and he's not
physically gifted.
Brock is just a good fit for the scheme, which is the most important thing in Kyle Shanahan. It's the scheme, not the talent. He's got the scheme.
He's a fit, but I think he also has qualities that does give that they kind of wanted in Trey, like we don't have to work within the structure of the offense because we've seen him do that. Does he get a little sloppy at times with the typical, I'm going to roll left and do some weird 360? Yeah. And that's probably going to take some time to get snap out of. I don't think he's going to snap out of it this next season because he's pretty much going to rehab. How much legwork is he going to do? I think, this is why especially after he went on that run, the only way he had a chance to not being the guy in their minds that they wanted is, they were a first round exit. But I mean, it's because of the way he played. It's also the reason why I thought he was warranted Offensive Rookie of the Year award, is because it'd have been one thing if he just managed, came in there, kept them afloat, they won a games and such. But it was the way he came in and did it. It wasn't just because he was the third string. It wasn't just because he was a 7th round rookie. It was because of the way he was doing it. It was like, wow, we've never seen a 49ers offense with a explosive passing attack ever. They were favoring the pass more times than not with Purdy, which is crazy. It was like, wow, this offense is kind of fun. I'm getting tired of. I'm so happy I'm not able to predict what the play call was beforehand, like I was in Atlanta. It was like, hey, watch, run, pass. Like, no, that wasn't really so much the case with Purdy. And then you watch a guy who was actually taking advantage of the available targets. It's like, so that's what it's supposed to look like. You're just like, wow, okay, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, I get that. But I also feel like it's a lot like what happened with Jimmy Garoppolo when he first got here.
Yeah.
Niner fans are so desperate for a quarterback to be the one. And if not just fans, the team too. So if you get a guy who kills it for like 5, 6, 7, 8 games, they're like, boom, that's the one. It's like, yo, slow down. You made this mistake with Jimmy. You inaccurately judged a 7-game sample, and the consequence of that was he was on your team for 5 years longer than he should have been. I mean, he was here for more than half a decade. Are you going to make? Don't do that. Now, fortunately for the Niners, they don't have to give Brock an extension or anything, but like, don't write off Trey because you think you know something about Brock. You got 2 rookie quarterbacks. See what you got in both of them. But yeah, I think they're telling themselves, we got the guy. We got Drew Brees 2.0. He's perfect. He'll be back. He'll be here for the whole season. We're going to win the Super Bowl. What's the problem?
Kind of disappointed we're not going to see a competition. That would have been, even though I know they would have gave to Brock anyways. I think that would have been fun to watch, to write about.
It would have been fun to watch. Yeah, absolutely.
But now it's like,
how often do you ever get like true quarterback competitions in the offseason?
Especially the way it played out. This is unique. This is rare, which only would happen with the Kyle Shanahan 49ers. It's fitting.
Yeah.
Every year, their quarterback offseason news going to training camp in the season always ones up itself. Oh my God, it's crazy. Ever since 2020, it's crazy.
Kyle doesn't want that quarterback competition though. He doesn't want that quarterback competition though, because then the media makes the decision. The media shapes the narrative. You know, every fan is watching or knows the stats, the completion percentage, and has an opinion, and all of a sudden it's a controversial decision. I don't think. How often do these quarterback competitions actually happen today in the NFL? Very, very. I mean, maybe once a year, one team, maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
I'd
like,
to see it, though.
Even without media and the fan influence, I think Kyle still already had. That's what I'm saying. Purdy still would have had the leg up. It would have been a lot for Lance to overcome. So again, this is the best case scenario for his career because he needs it. He needs the reps, and he needs some momentum going into the season if he's going to be the starter.
He also needs some open-mindedness in the locker room because, you know, Brock Purdy may not be the same. He may not be the real deal anyway. Trey might be the Niners' best shot. Rally around him. It's freaking football. If you want him to have his best chance, rally around him. If you want him to fail, let him pick himself up after sacks. Do that.
They need that auto aim mindset where just auto aim onto whoever your starting quarterback is and support them. Don't be snarky, like undermining, like, you know, jerk.
Your job is to support the quarterback, not to have an opinion about who should play. George,
because ultimately they're both in there to help you win. Don't talk about, like, you know. Come on, I think at this point, like, Purdy was better than Garoppolo. You guys are proven wrong about Garoppolo when Purdy stepped in. So I mean, what's Trey Lance gonna? I doubt Trey Lance is gonna be much worse than Garoppolo was.
Yeah. Jose says Grant is the GOAT. It's so true. The greatest of all time. Thank you so much.
That's not what
I don't know.
said.
What did he really say there? That was code for Grant sucks. That was $50 though. Thank you, Jose. I was really generous. Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. So Brock Purdy, he could miss this season. We don't know. And then they're down to Trey. And last year when they were down to Trey, we knew how they didn't feel good about that. They brought back Jimmy. They hedged, even though they said they didn't. They freaking hedged last year. So it's possible they might hedge again. Do you think they'll call up Jimmy and be like, let's do this one more time?
I can see them being like in a glance and a little twinkle in their eye. A twinkle in my eye. Jimmy G. You think about him a little bit. And it's like, because, you know, it's a lot easier to go to a familiar face than exploring, scouting. And we all know Kyle Shanahan does not like to scout about all these other quarterbacks available in the free agent market. Or even in the draft, they want to go that way, which I honestly do not think the draft is the right way to go for adding a third quarterback. I mean,
you already have 2 rookies.
Quarterback, but I think no matter what,
you already have 2 rookies, right? Like, why would you bring a third?
Exactly. That's you know, more development you got to go. So, I mean, even if you wanted to add one, put up whatever, that's not going to be your answer. It has to be someone in free agency. So, Jimmy Garoppolo, familiar face, probably shouldn't cost that much. We don't have to do too much. Just put a plug and play. We're Gucci.
Yeah.
With that said, hell no. No, it's over. It's done. I think the conviction from Kyle Shanahan, from what he said in that press conference. I don't
also Jimmy giggling on the sideline. It seemed like there's a little bit of like a it's over kind of thing. Like
his locker was empty before everyone even was done. Clean. That dude did everything. The guy had the wax on, wax off with his locker and everything. It was sparkling. That's how clean his locker was for a long time already at that point. So I think it's over. I think it's dead. It's not happening. It's time for them. And even if they do consider it, shame on you, 49ers. Do not consider it. Flip the page. You saw what it was to actually have a capable quarterback in your ranks and Brock Purdy. That's what's supposed to look like. Don't accept anything less. And plus, you have 2 injured quarterbacks. What does it make sense to bring a third quarterback who's injury prone to be your replacement? He's just going to get hurt again. Then you're going to have 2022 all over your hands again. It's enough. Go to free agency. Find someone who doesn't have much health, anywhere near the health concerns, like a Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, a Baker, whoever. It doesn't matter to me. Just do someone who you know is a reliable, healthy starter that can step in there if, God forbid, any of these 2 quarterbacks are out for a time.
See, I feel like the Niners are thinking, we don't need Jimmy. Brock's going to come back, but we don't know if Brock's going to come back. And then Jimmy's probably thinking, I don't need the Niners. I'm going to get a multi-year deal from somewhere else. So
yeah, right.
Right. So what if both guys are wrong? What if Brock's not all right? And what if Jimmy doesn't get that multi-year deal? Once again, the Niners could be his best option. If he's only looking at 1-year deals, where's a better 1-year option than playing with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk? Like, he's put up good numbers. I'm sure he'd love to go to Miami on a 2-year deal or the Jets and get some serious cash. But what if that doesn't come through? Be really funny. And all of a sudden, I'm sure the Niners would love, to not need him and maybe to go get a different backup if necessary. But it's possible that when they finally, I don't know, it's possible that Jimmy could be their best option. I'd rather get a guy like Jameis Winston. He's had injury problems too. Mariota's had injury problems too. I don't know. I say no, though. You got to go away, Jimmy. Go prove yourself somewhere else, please.
And plus,
for the love of God.
If you're going to have to consider Jimmy coming back, it's first of all, it's going to agree with him. So at that point, all right, look at his market. And I think I looked at it earlier this week. And I actually personally think his market is going to be a little bit of a struggle because I just don't see how someone after, again, he couldn't finish the season. And I know a broken foot.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It's broken foot. It'll heal, whatever. I don't have to have too much, but still, it's the fact that the matter that it adds to an already stockpiled of injuries that this guy just cannot finish. And how the hell can you give this guy a multi-year deal? It's why when I wrote my 5 teams he's likely to go to, I'm just like, damn, how can any of these teams, even a desperate team like the Raiders, really trust in this guy? Really?
You're right.
And you mentioned Miami.
Any team give him a multi-year deal? Yeah.
And I wrote Miami too as a spot that he can go to because Tua, my God, talk about the most variable starting caliber quarterback with his concussions and everything and whatnot. The same case I just said about the Niners. Is Mike McDaniel really going to want him to come back to an injury-prone guy to potentially replace an injury-prone guy?
Are you really going to give him 2 years, like $36 million? I don't think so.
The only way you give him 2 years is if somehow there's an out and you load up the first year or something like that, and then everything is set in incentive late. It's really the only way it's going to make sense. You make the annual salary like 15 or something like that to start off, and anything else more than that you kick it based on availability and such. But I really don't think he's going to get more than a 1-year deal. And I'm hard pressed to say 2 years. That's the most. But still, if anyone gives him 3, which I think is something he's probably going to want to look at, it's like you're probably like a team. It's like, Jimmy, are you tripping? Like, you just didn't finish another season. Like, I don't care if you pretty much only missed a game and a half in 2021. You were pretty much injured, and I don't care. That was Kyle's system that pretty much they won despite of you with all your injuries. You tore shoulder, you tore thumb. So that's why I can see you're right. Where that does maybe okay, after weeks and weeks, it's suddenly, my God, deja vu. But instead of August, it's freaking March. It's March and April where I'm back, guys. Hey, what's up?
The only thing is, Kyle said definitively he's not coming back. And you see any scenario where Jimmy's coming back? No. Now,
I do not see any sense of scenario to me that he still left an out in his words. I think he still left an out. To be honest.
You can say, you know what, things changed. I thought Brock was going to be healthy. He's not.
That's immediately what I thought when he said that.
Because that's what they said last year. Well, we thought Jimmy was going to be gone, but then he had the surgery and and it just kind of fell into place. We never thought this was going to happen. That's what they said last year, right? We never thought this was going to happen, but it just worked out for both sides. So that could happen again. Because I'm with you. I don't think he's going to get a multi-year deal. And maybe the Niners really are mad at him because of what happened at the end of the season, and maybe they go sign someone else. But if you sign Andy Dalton, does that give you is he better than Jimmy? No. Is he cheaper than Jimmy? Yeah. If you sign Jameis Winston, I would do that. I think Jameis is better than Jimmy, but that's just me. And you know what? I don't know if the Niners feel that way.
I just think they need to get. I kind of like Tyler Heineke a little bit because he's closer to Brock. It wouldn't be too far off of Trey necessarily. A little far off, but not terribly far off. To me, it's just someone who's proven to be a decent starter for a stretch and you don't have to worry about him being healthy. Because I think it would be the case if this guy, whoever does have a stretch of being healthy, if he does end up starting for a slew of games for the 49ers, like say it's like a Taylor Heineke, and he does get injured, it's like, at that point, can we just admit that they are bad luck and it is Kyle Shanahan at that point? It's like, look, you just got – it'd be the same thing if Brady were to come back. Like, say, like, if Brady got hurt, it's like, dude, you got the GOAT injured. The guy who hasn't missed games is 2007. Is there really a case to really – is anyone going to defend Kyle Shanahan anymore at that point? There's no reason to defend him. That's what I'm saying.
Brock Purdy had never gotten injured. He never missed a game in college.
Yeah. He never got
And he got injured twice on the 49ers. I'm starting to think – that it might be something with the Niners or Kyle in particular, because it's been on multiple teams. Again, when they drafted Brock Purdy, they give out little blurbs as soon as the pick is made. Here's what you got to know about him. And there's little facts. One of the facts that the Niners put out, never been injured. Well, they jinxed that. I think Kyle was like, look, man, I just need a quarterback who's like accurate and never been injured. Can you give me a guy like that? Yeah, we got a guy like that. Boom. Oh, well, you got him injured. That's what happens when you call 7-step. Yeah.
The 49ers are like that bad gang or that bad influence people in high school where it's like, hey, kid, come join our gang. That sort of guy, it's going to be good. And everything's all good until it's like now all of a sudden they turn into this toxic, this bad figure. It's like the same thing with quarterbacks. Clean quarterback, clean history. Like, go there. Hey, I'm having success. Oh, injured.
Injured.
Over.
Josh Wyatt says, my fear is that by the time they admit Brock won't be back, Jimmy might be legitimately the best option available. It's like a slow motion train wreck. That's what happened last year. It was a slow motion train wreck. Because
a lot can still happen with what's his name? With Purdy and his injury, right? Because we don't know if he's really going to be back by then. The timeout. I mean, look, it's already twice been delayed, kind of. I guess there was when he was, first of all, holding off because of their swelling. Okay, swelling went down. Try to get surgery the February 22nd. Nah, no good. You have inflammation. And now early March is when they said it will reconvene. That doesn't mean that he's going to get surgery second week of March. What if it's like end of March, early April?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just going to keep checking every 2 weeks, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ready in 2
Even if it is done in early March, then what?
And again,
something happened. He's out for another 2 months.
Like, what's the holdup? It seems like it's taking longer than expected, and he threw a bunch of warm-up passes with the torn UCL. He was taking snaps from under center with the torn UCL. He's handing off. All of that probably, I don't know. We wonder, did it have an effect? Because he didn't need to do that. Did you really jeopardize the upcoming season so you could get through the second half of a game that was lost? I wonder, but I'm not a doctor. Todd K says, shout out on your dono, Jose. You're the man, Grant. Love the content. Purdy, Lance aren't too expensive. Upgrade the O-line. Fingers crossed. Emailing comes back solid. We can find a third quarterback. Yeah, you can find a third quarterback for sure. You got to want to find it, though. Chris Tellerico says, Trey's going to have to do a cap and blow everyone away to take the job for Purdy. Unfortunately, Lance is playing for his next job right now.
Yeah, I kind of feel I'm more leaning towards that. Look, that's why I wrote in my Ascension article. It's coming out today or tomorrow. It depends on when I want you to post. Anyways, to me, this year is like he's number one on top of the list of a quarterback, of a player on the 49ers that needs to ascend. This is your time, man. This is your time not only not only kickstart your NFL career, but to possibly see how far you're going to be with the 49ers. Because I think even if he does never wins the starting job, he'll get a job somewhere else. Someone's going to take a flyer on him in free agency in a couple of years. Because he's still a raw quarterback. People want to tap in. So yeah, he's definitely, because right now it's pretty much it's almost a career defining moment for him essentially, because you're getting this chance that no way in hell was going to get granted to you if he had not hurt his elbow.
If I were the general manager of the Ravens, the Ravens, and you're struggling with Lamar Jackson, and he's, if you consider trading him because you don't want to give him all the money, and he's been getting, what about Trey? I'd be interested in Trey. I think there'd be some teams out there that know what to do with dual threat quarterbacks that might look at Trey. Indianapolis, now that they have Shane Steichen, might be interested in Trey. So, yeah, I think there would be teams. And you could probably get him on the cheap, which is great. That's how the Niners got Steve Young. Please know, Jimmy, I'm having nightmares, says Manny Fresh.
Don't worry, I don't think he's coming back.
Cody Walker says, was Josh Johnson injury prone? It doesn't seem like it even matters with Kyle who the next backup is. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I want. So, Kyle, bring in another quarterback who's durable and test that.
Yeah, Josh Johnson was just a guy. He was just someone just fill a seat.
Bring back Troy Smith, problem solved. Boom. Ohio State. All right. So the Niners are still in their Super Bowl window, even though they don't know who their quarterback is. But some players are ascending. and some players inevitably will decline this season. Who should the Niners expect to decline?
I would anticipate. Well, we already talked about. I could anticipate Brock Purdy declining because he's going to have more study film on him. He's coming off, obviously, a pretty big elbow injury.
No offseason.
A lot of question marks. There's a lot more to be down on him. There is a lot more to be hopeful on him. There's been plenty of times where we've seen, a stretch of like, God, he looks amazing this year. Can he do it again? Now there's more tape on him and stuff like that. It's like same thing with Cap. Like the first year was great. And then after a year or two, when the read option got figured out, okay, make him to a passer. Okay, he's kind of more of an average player with some explosiveness to him.
Or Jimmy. Jimmy had a great start to his career, tears his ACL, comes back, never was the same. And his issues weren't just his knee, but he was never the same confident player he was before that. Maybe that's the deal with Brock.
Jimmy's though was more like the writing was on the wall because the Niners sucked, right? No one cared about them. They weren't playing great opponents. Whereas Purdy's, I think you could take a little bit more at least than his, because it was on a playoff contending team.
Yes.
It was against, some good teams, not all of them, but still. And the pressure, my God, the pressure. There was no pressure on Jimmy. He was relaxed out there. He was fine. Purdy, goddamn, had everything against him and easily could have folded and no one would have blamed him. But yeah, I think this year we could see him making more mistakes. Maybe see situations where he presses. But yeah, I think he's someone they could do just because it's going to be another year in his belt. And that's something that it seems pretty typical, right?
I got another name.
I got plenty of names for you. So
Trent Williams.
Oh,
I mean, it's got to happen eventually, right? He's going to be 35.
Right.
He's a great player, but eventually, I mean, he was already talking about retirement after this season. Like someone asked him about it and he was like, well, you got to consider it. So he didn't, but this could be his last season theoretically. I don't know.
I'll agree with that, but I don't think it'll be because of performance. I think it'll be because his body can't hold up.
He has been getting hurt. He misses a couple of games every year. Yeah, I'm not saying all of a sudden he's going to go out there and get beat left and right. Like, no.
But I mean, he could. But
I mean, like his standard is the greatest of all time. So I don't know if he's going to maintain that. We'll see.
No, because even if he does have a drop off, he'll still be pretty good. He'll still be like a top 5, top 8. And even then, if he's top 8, you're still damn good. He's still your least of your worries on your team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
he's not like Jason Peters at the end. I'm not talking that. You know what I'm saying?
No. Where he's well, speaking of Jason Peters, he could. I think that's where we would see a decline. Is Jason Peters the way his bodies can't hold up anymore?
Yep. So
that's where I see him declining, not performance wise, basically.
That's 2. Anyone else?
Yes. Talanoa Hufanga. Because D'Amico Ryans isn't there anymore. So I wonder, and D'Amico Ryans loved Hufanga. He made sure to really work on him because he saw what he could be. And my God, what an eye for talent that Ryans has, and just the way he brought him up, the way he got a system to work around him to put him in a position to be successful. Can Wilkes somehow find something similar that works that way that can keep Hufanga teetering? Because I don't think he's going to be all pro again. That felt like a huge steal for the 49ers this year. But if they are, God, more power to him. He's going to make everyone look stupid. But still, they have a good starter in him. I know he played terribly the last 6 games of the season, but still, there's a lot to work with there. He could clean it up. Number one, with his eyes. Stop being sloppy. Stop looking at the buffet behind the line of scrimmage. Don't worry about that. Keep what's in front of you. Play smart. And it's going to rely on what Wilkes can do with him and making sure that he knows he's on his P's and Q's, because a lot of his success was because of how D'Amico Ryans brought him up and where he placed him. So that's somewhere where I wonder, are we going to see a drop in him? Are we going to start seeing him play sloppier? Was all pro caliber Pro Bowl year a blip? That's somewhere I could see. I'm tempted to say he's a likelihood candidate to be in a decline year.
I got one more, and I could be wrong here, but Travarius Ward, 27. Okay. He's not old, but he was starting to get picked. He's not picked on, but he got exposed a little bit down the stretch. Played really well against A.J. Brown, the NFC Championship game, but boy, got roasted by DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams. There's no shame in that, but I don't know. I feel like there's tape out there. I don't think teams are scared of him, and I think teams are going to be coming after him. It's going to be interesting to see. Travarius. Yeah,
it always takes like one elite receiver to go against a good corner, and just like, okay, we see some weaknesses, because only elite receivers can make good corners have their weak, become exposed to a degree. Right. And then it's like, okay, we see we can spin him around the top. He'll bite on this on a double move, or maybe you just blow past him. To me, it's just speed with Ward. Because I don't know if you noticed, I did notice in the NFC Championship game, I think they had Ward for a stretch on Devontae Smith. No, who's faster? No, I don't think he was shutting down AJ Brown. They had Ward on someone. I think AJ Brown was kind of blowing past him a little bit, and then they put him on the slower receiver. Devontae Smith, I think, is a little slower. I don't know. I just remember Lenore was keeping up better because Lenore is faster. But I think that's one thing you can look at. Yeah, because I have 5 players who I wrote down on my decline list. So Hufanga, I didn't have Ward. I did not have Ward. I didn't have Williams either, but I did have Hufanga. I did have Purdy. Number 3, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, about McCaffrey.
McCaffrey
It happens fast with running backs. Happens fast.
Is he going to be healthy again? I don't care. I don't give a damn. He had a healthy season last year. He was still kind of gimpy at times, which, okay, great. You made it through the season, but before that, the last 3 to 4 seasons, would tell me that was a little bit of an outlier. A little bit. Not crazy, but call. How many games are you going to miss? Are you going to be healthy again? Because, we haven't seen you in the 49ers offense. And I know that the Panthers kind of in the last 2-3 games before he got traded kind of ran him to the ground, especially that Rams game. My God, they freaking used him like crazy before he got traded to the Niners. Is he really going to be able to
Let me say something real quick, though, about McCaffrey. I think actually Trey Lance could be great for McCaffrey.
Yeah, take more pressure off him. Less pressure.
Yeah, because when he's in the I formation, all eyes are on him. He's just they tee off on him. But if it's who's got it, zone read, Trey Lance or Christian McCaffrey, like that's how he broke into the league with Cam. Just saying, I think he's built for that more than just. I don't think he's a great elite I formation outside zone runner. Like he's good, he's really good. But I think he's elite in the zone read. And he's elite as a receiver.
Yeah, he's elite because of everything he can do.
Right.
Everything you can do, which is like sweet as hell. Yeah, I love positionless players because then it's like
he can do everything.
Mismatch hell. He's pretty much an offensive coordinator's dream.
I got one more, and I expected him to fall off last year, and he didn't. He had a big bounce back season, but George Kittle, eventually he's going to fall off. But Travis Kelce's chugging in his mid-30s, chugging along. I don't know. Kittle looked great this year, man. His speed was back. His explosion was back. He was making contested catches. It was like he was really good. Can he do it again? One more year?
Just someone pass him the ball. That's it. I mean, we don't know who he is with Trey. You know who he is with Purdy. I think Trey would target him. My God.
So. Purdy definitely does.
I remember last year we talked about in the middle of the season when George was like getting like 2 receptions a game. He was getting like 4 targets. Or actually, I think we saw he was still getting the same targets. It wasn't a drop off, but it's like, hey, what the hell is the deal with George Kittle? And then all of a sudden, Purdy comes in. Oh, that's the deal with him. Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the problem. Someone asked him, maybe it was you, about Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle's targets. Because I remember someone asked Kyle, was it first about Brandon Ayuk? They asked someone about someone's targets. Oh, it was Brandon Ayuk. Then he exploded in Atlanta and just went on that 4-game like streak of being raw. Then someone ended up asking him about George and think, is the same going to happen? He's like, oh, don't worry about George. Well, and I think he got into like Garoppolo's ear, like, hey, we're going to target this guy. Don't look at anyone else, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, it was the quarterback. There's no debate.
I mean, you could really argue that like a dominant tight end is as valuable as anything in the NFL because you're essentially a wide receiver. You produce like a wide receiver, but you get paid. You get paid so cheaply. It's like it's not really fair. It's not fair at all. But like,
hell no, it's not fair. They should get paid more.
Look at the 2 dynasties in the Super Bowl era. Really, so far it's been the Patriots and now the Chiefs. Both teams had the best quarterback in the league and the best tight end. And that was the team essentially. If you have Gronkowski or Kelsey, man, that is quite an asset. So you could argue that Kittle's right there, or not quite, but right there. And if he can just stay healthy, you hold on to that player into his mid-30s. You really do. You do. Now, wide receivers, replaceable. You want depth. Easily. You want 5 good wide receivers. You want 4 good running backs. You don't need to spend big money on any one of them, but the Niners do. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, because you could always find like 2nd, 3rd round, even 4th round receivers, and they can end up being good in that first, 2nd year. And the next couple years for you be like top-notch role players, if not playmakers eventually.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you don't need Tyreek Hill. You just have Travis Kelce, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling is fine. Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman. Guys are good, explosive, can play a role, and cheap. That's all you need. And you got 5, like they're 4 or 5 deep at wide receiver in Kansas City. They don't spend on that position at all. Tyreek Hill, thank you. We'll
just have a good like slew of like solid, stable receivers, not necessarily like a really raw ass one, a really dominant one, and then he's just Travis. Just Travis. It's just hard. What are you going to do? The only persons who can cover those guys are like the Fred Warners. And how many of those guys are hanging around? Like 2? None?
Exactly. I don't even know if Fred Warner can cover Travis Kelce. He's that good. You know who
Even
can? Jimmy Ward.
Jimmy Ward, Corey, he's just short. Kelce would just get over him. Even in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, Seattle, that's kind of one of my favorites, if not the favorite. Like Cam Chancellor, who was good at covering tight ends, like even like had his fits with Gronk. And they're both like the same size.
No one could ever cover Gronk. And I think when people talk about Brady and his like, how great he was down in the back half of his career, a lot of that had to do with Gronk. What did Brady? I mean, I know how many Super Bowls did he win when Gronk was out? One. I know he might have won one, but still, like when Gronk was healthy, they were pretty. Did they win in Tampa? He didn't do shit in Tampa without Gronk. Say that.
No, no, right? That's true.
He didn't do shit. Todd Labor says, bring back Steve Spurrier and John Brody. Man, what is Steve Spurrier doing these days?
I remember he was last coaching the AAF about 2-3 years ago.
Great 1765. Thank you. Hafunga at linebacker to replace Aziz.
Then it's gonna give you that's gonna give you a fatter need at safety. Then Jesus, you better throw the bag at Jimmy Ward, which you think he's coming back. This is gonna be a topic for us again, but just like quick preview because when we do a free agency segment in a week or two. But
I would bring him back. I think he's gonna be cheaper.
I know you would bring him back. I think we're both in like unison and like bring him back. Hell yeah.
He's not that expensive. Like, what's he gonna cost? Let me look it up. Let me see what Spot Track thinks.
Well, because remember I told you the Instagram live how he said the Niners tried to offer me top-notch dollar and it turns out to be it was top-notch dollar that they offered for a nickel corner, and it turned out it was pretty much they're trying to pay him like 10.5, which was the same or just slightly more than he was getting paid now. But obviously, with inflation, he should get paid a lot more. So he was going to get paid like top 25 safety money or something like that.
Well, Spot Track has him estimated at 2 years, $15 million. I would offer him 2 years, $15 million.
I don't think
he's worth it.
He wants more.
Of course, he doesn't want that. If he can get better, God love him. But what did he get last time? 3 years, 30.
Yes. Wait.
I might even offer that again. I mean, I think
no, he wants more than that.
Well, of course he wants more than that. But is he going to get it? I'm just saying.
No.
I'm just saying. Like the Chiefs got Justin Reed for like $11-12 million a year. He's younger than Jimmy Ward. He's a cornerstone of their team, kind of. You can pay safeties. They're not that expensive. They're like tight ends.
I think 2022 is the year the 49ers have just got fed up with their veterans who get injured. Yeah. Jimmy Ward, start with Jimmy Ward. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure Javon Kinlaw is probably on their poop list, and I wonder if Armstead's kind of annoying them, but they know because he can dominate when he comes back.
Garoppolo. Players who could decline in 2023. How about Armstead, or has he already? Or is he going to bounce back?
Do I have him on my list? I think I have him on my list. Okay, this is the first time we're actually like together on that one. Yeah. I think I have him on my list. I think it's basically because dude, is he going to get it together with his health? I mean, he had that. Well, he had like what was it, 2-year stretch? Was he healthy in 2020?
He had like 3 or 4 years in a row, but now he's almost 30. And this last year, he seemed like he was hurt the whole time.
It kind of feels like he's having like a sandwich, like a little bit like the first like a start of the first half, the first 4 years, whatever. It was like injured, then like okay, clean. Now it's injured again. Because he was kind of injured a little bit last year too, no? An
injury sandwich. That's what he has.
The last buns the next 2 more years. They have him under contract for what, 2-3 more years?
Yeah, for making a ton of money. What's crazy is they re-signed him over Buckner because they wanted this 3-year period where they could keep Jimmy Ward, and they wanted Javon Kinlaw. In retrospect, I love Jimmy Ward, but now Armstead is more expensive than Buckner because they backloaded Armstead and Buckner was front loaded. So in retrospect, they got nothing from that. They should have just kept Buckner or neither, but probably Buckner. Buckner and Bosa would have been a historically great duo. And Buckner and Armstead isn't. I mean, Bosa and Armstead isn't. I'm just sorry. It's not.
I feel like it only worked out for the 49ers because Armstead was those initially first few years healthy.
Yes.
Because if he was going back, if 2019 was a blip, because at that time that looked stupid. It's like, wait, you're going to use the outlier season, the first season he's actually been healthy,
right?
Because he's slightly cheaper and is versatile. What?
And it allows you to keep Jimmy Ward, like, okay, who you ended up benching and then moving to nickel. It's like you always go quality over quantity. They thought Armstead, Jimmy Ward, Kinlaw better than Buckner. Well, they were wrong. Sorry.
It worked out
great though.
2 years, 3
It did
years.
work.
I mean,
But
one year
it-
was
but
a
the-
wash. 2020
but
was like, obviously.
It's not Armstead's fault or Jimmy Ward's fault they didn't get it, but it was supposed to work out with the Super Bowl championship. They were thinking if we keep Buckner, we'll have to change our team. We want to keep our team together because we're going to win a Super Bowl. They haven't done that yet, but maybe next year. Kajon25 says Darnell Washington, tight end Georgia, must have in draft. Bring a tight end in, please. Please.
I remember last year I was advocating for Jelani Woods out of Virginia. He's with the Colts now. He had an okay season for a rookie year, but he's more like the receiver type. He's kind of soft. I don't think you can rely on him to block. Maybe that's why Kyle didn't want him, but it would have been sweet to run like two tight ends who can receive. I mean, I even said it again in free agency. So when I write free agency articles, I'm gonna have fun looking like, hey, who can be a cost-effective tight end that can run along, that they can actually trust to run alongside Kittle, because that's going to be mismatch hell.
Yeah. J Figs Ramon says the Cabo click will decide who's quarterback.
I love that. The Cabo click.
The Cabo click.
Click with a Q.
It's click with a QUE, but I like the other way too, because the way E40 spells it, the click was like that. So I'll take it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm gonna be in Tahoe this weekend, so I won't be doing live streams, but
You're gonna get trapped there.
I know. Pray for me.
Did you decide to go there like recently?
Yeah. It's my brother's birthday, so he's got his little spot in Nevada City, which isn't all the way in Tahoe. We're gonna go there, and then we're gonna snowboard tomorrow. So pray for me. Hopefully I make it back.
Okay, don't get murked by an avalanche.
Murked season. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you later.